Hi everyone, so my name's Phil.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to show you LEGO DC supervillains, but in particular we're showing you a new level, we're showing you Gorilla City.
Star Labs, the Galaxy Communications Gala, and now Arkham. The Justice Syndicate have let villains escape each and every time. These new heroes aren't quite filling the boots the League left behind.
Say, why does Flash wear boots anyway? Aren't they kind of hard to run in? He should wear sneakers.
It could be because the Justice Syndicate are Earth 3 heroes, not used to our Earth. Or perhaps our Earth 1 villains are too sneaky for them? There's something fishy about the Justice Syndicate, and I'm not just talking about Sea King. Come on, Jimmy, let's get back to work. The best place for us to be right now is the Planet Newsroom.
So despite a couple of hiccups, the Galaxy Communications Tower is open for business. Reports of a breakout at Arkham have been greatly exaggerated, and our friends the Justice Syndicate are hot on the heels of the one or two villains that may still be at large.
If we're meeting Grodd at his palace, couldn't you have parked a little closer, Luthor?
I don't want to startle the wildlife. Have you ever seen what a surprised ape can do?
Softly, softly, catchy monkey.
Grodd's an ape, you fool.
Huh. This Gorilla City place don't seem so advanced to me.
This isn't the actual city, genius. These old ruins act as a secret entrance.
I knew that.
Impressive. Let's see if we can find our way inside.
Cool, so here we are in Gorilla City. I actually really like the beginning of this level and the way it plays out, because we actually have this bit where you're using Cheetah to dig up Lego bricks to build these switches. And these switches are then used for a puzzle that's actually on the wall. But it plays out very differently to what we've done in the past. It kind of like a bit of a change of pace, because we've had that kind of like the villains have been running around doing loads of different bits and pieces. And then you've now got this bit where you've just arrived in the city, you need to work out this big turn puzzle. And it's really cool that you kind of be able to figure it out. It's a bit like one of those puzzles where you have to get a ball out of a maze. So that kind of setup I think works really well, with kind of a bit of change of pace for the gameplay.
Yeah, I always really like when you've got these big puzzles built into the environment. I always think that's really effective. Makes it look different from other things in the game.
Yeah, they're really cool. Like, I always want to be able to try and build these Lego bricks myself, but I don't have the skills for that. Cool. The other thing I really like about this level as well is the team have done an original story, so it's kind of really great because it means that we get to kind of pick and choose which characters come into various levels. So where we're at in this level, and we have Heatwave, Captain Cold, Cheetah and Lex to start off with, we have a whole host of different abilities, and what that means is that you can have puzzles that are something that you need Heatwave to figure out, and then you can switch to Captain Cold, or something where you might need Cheetah to dig up some pieces, and then you can use Lex to X-ray or blow up Silver Lego. And so being able to combine the villains together, that I think is really cool, and it's something that we get to do as its original story, because we get to decide, you know what, this will be something that we think will be really funny. We also have Reverse Flash here as well, and I see Matt, you're doing some of the cool takedown moves.
Yeah, each character has lots of different moves that they can do. So press the button, you can grab an enemy, then you've got a few different options once you grab them to do a different combat move as well. Some of them are really cool. Here you see Captain Cold can turn enemies into snowmen to defeat them, and there are lots of fun things you can do to sort of vary the different attacks to defeat enemies as you progress through the level.
Yeah. The other thing I think that's really cool as well is we have different types of enemies as well. So here you can see one of the gorillas has now turned up, and he's wearing a gold chest plate. So of course, it's gold Lego. You have to interact with it in a certain way. So we need to figure out in the same way you would with a puzzle, which character has the ability that I need to get past them. So we use Heatwave. He can then heat up that gold Lego, and it'll pop off of the gorilla, and then we can take him down. This is also, I think, a really fun bit as well, just because it feels like it's almost like a throwback to some old school gaming style. It's got this kind of side-scrolling section where you have to try and avoid these walls, otherwise they push you off to the ledge and you have to go back to the beginning of it. It just feels like it's a different thing that we haven't done in a while, like kind of like that real kind of side-on thing. It's almost a bit of a throwback to some of the stuff we had in the very first Lego Batman game, where we had some levels that were set with a side-scrolling kind of dynamic, and being able to
fun scale, wasn't it? It was a bit like that.
yeah, with Harley and Joker. So that idea that we can kind of tie back to things that we've done in the past, I really like to see, because it just kind of is a reminder that you can do different styles of gameplay in these games. And like I say, in this we really wanted to fit it with basically everything we've learned about Lego games over all of the years, and all the kind of things that we think work really well, and some things that are really fun. And that can even include how the level is laid out, whether it's something you're going from left to right, or if it's a level where you're walking away from the camera and going deeper into the level. And you actually see a little bit of that later on in this level as well. We have a section where you actually go deeper into it, and it's almost like you're stepping back another layer into Gorilla City and kind of get a bit of depth into the gameplay. So here we have another one of the gold-plated gorillas. Someone's going to be using Heatwave there.
Heatwave, heat up the gold Lego. And use G so you can jump up these walls. Get it to stick.
So this is one of the things that I also really liked when kind of working through this game, is seeing the abilities that I think are really fun, and then going back and adding that to my custom character and going, you know what, I really like having the ability to, you know, blow up silver Lego or something, so I'll then apply that as my custom character and go, you know, that's actually really fun, and switch that ability in.
Well, yeah, and if you remember which abilities you need, you can come back and play levels that the custom character isn't in, and play them in free play and get through the different puzzles once you've changed your character for that mode.
Nice. So yeah, here's the bit I mentioned about having to go deeper into the level. So unfortunately, we now have to deal with a big rolling boulder to get out of the way. But it's cool because you have characters like Reverse Flash in our party, for example. So, of course, with him having things like super speed,
should make it a bit easier.
It's probably a good choice for this. Oh, nice dodge.
First time I played this.
The takedown moves I think are really interesting as well, because where you have multiple ways that you can do it. So when you walk up to an enemy and you grab them, you can then do one of 3 different buttons with a different type of move on them, whether that's a jump move where you throw them into the air, or if that's like a kind of a more of a melee takedown move. And that actually changes with your custom character weapons as well. So depending on which weapon you have applied to your custom character, whether that be a banana or a plunger or a sword, you actually do different takedown moves. So I think it's quite fun just to kind of try things out, keep going back to the customizer and going, okay, what happens if I'm dual wielding whisks versus what happens if I'm using like a blaster of some variety, and just kind of really digging around and playing with the customizer a lot. Where we have such a big open world in this game, having that ability to keep switching in and out, and then you get to use those abilities when you come to these levels such as Gorilla City and you're replaying it in free play. So kind of really learning about the characters and learning about the abilities in the game, and then updating your custom villain to kind of have those abilities. I think it feels really cool. It feels like you're progressing and you're always learning more about this world. Oh, you missed that jump there.
Yeah, we'll start that again. Got to concentrate for this bit. This is a really cool environment though. Like the point you made earlier about this is clearly not Gotham, and it's clearly not Metropolis or other places that you can get to in the hub. And going to these different sort of iconic DC locations is really cool to be able to do that in this game, and it makes everything feel different when you go to these different environments.
So what's your favourite environment so far?
That's a good question. I quite like... That's a tough one. Are we allowed to talk about Themyscira?
Yeah,
that's quite a good one. It's quite nice seeing that environment. It's very different. And yeah, we haven't been there before in another Lego game, which is always nice to sort of see different things, see these characters running through them. And that level is a really cool level. I'm not sure people are going to enjoy that one when they get there. Can't tell you how you get there just yet, but the story goes places.
So this is another one of these kind of new abilities that you have for DC Supervillains. So whenever you come across these treadmills, you can use characters such as Reverse Flash, any Speedster, to kind of access the Speed Force. And you are there now, and what Matt's doing is he's actually having to collect different Lego bricks that are kind of in this location, and then what we can do is we can then take them back to the puzzle to help us build something, or help us create something that will help us get through this level. So here we have all of our Lego bricks building, and apparently we needed a giant banana, so we now have our giant banana which we can use, and we can use that as a battering ram to get through. So that kind of idea that even when we've had characters in the past, so we've had characters that have had super speed ability, but making them feel like they've got something different, making them feel like they've got something brand new. So even if you've played every other Lego DC title we've done, you'll come to this, and even those characters that make a return, so someone like Joker, has brand new abilities. They're a brand new way to play with these characters. Like I say, the team are always constantly trying to improve them and say, okay, what would be really cool? What do we want to do in this world that we couldn't do previously? And so doing things like adding Reverse Flash to have some brand new abilities, we thought would be a lot of fun.
A lot of the outfits have been freshened up as well. A lot of the designs in this game for the characters are based off of the Rebirth designs. In previous DC titles, that was more around the New 52 time, so a lot of the characters, even if we had them in previous DC titles, they have got a new look in this game to sort of freshen them up and give them an overhaul in that aspect as well.
That's really cool, especially when you have people like, I know that Carly's one of my favourite characters, so doing things like giving her roller skates, I just thought it was a really fun thing that the team did.
And that changes how she plays entirely, and makes her very unique. There aren't any other characters in the game that control like her. She's got a totally different way of moving around environments, and it's really, really cool. Like the bit where she sort of skates backwards and stuff, it's really, really fun.
So we're now in a boss encounter.
Yeah, take on Solovar.
So we just had Gorilla Grodd added to the party as well, so this is our first time that we actually get to play as Grodd. And the boss encounters are actually set up in a slightly different way. It's actually a free roaming camera in a kind of an arena situation. So our objective here is to try and take him down in some way. You'll notice around the area you'll see these kind of big electric panels, and maybe it's got something to do with them. So you'll see as you're being charged at, what you need to do is actually dodge out of the way. Dodge out of the way in time, he'll hit the electric charge point, it stuns him, and then that gives you an opportunity to kind of get a few hits in. And with the boss encounters, we want to do things like make sure that the player knows how to progress. So you'll see a health bar above the character. So at the point that that health bar is visible, it means that you can actually do damage to them. And then when that health bar disappears, it means they're in an area where they can't take damage anymore. So, for example, Solovar's just jumped over into this kind of secluded area where it's behind an electric fence. We can't get to him anymore, so we have to then figure out what we need to do. So we find some Lego bricks. Grodd has his abilities. He's created this giant meteor, which then comes down, does some damage, provokes him, and then we can go back into the fight mode again. And this is actually a style of boss fight that we've had in a few different levels in the game as well. Like I say, we wanted to do something that felt really fresh, and when you've got such kind of iconic villains that we know are kind of super powerful, we wanted to do something where we can kind of showcase those locations. So this is actually a slightly strange one because we're the villains and we're fighting Solovar, and we have that elsewhere as well, which is really cool. So there's another level where you fight Beast Boy and Raven, and it's the same kind of thing. You have Beast Boy and Raven in this arena setup, and you need to use the villains to kind of take them down. And I don't know, personally, I like playing as bad guys against the good guys for a change. It feels like there's not a lot of games that let you do that. So.
No, it definitely gives the game a different tone, a different vibe as you're playing through it. And yeah, that is really cool. And like here, the cool thing when you're playing villains is there's lots of different aspects to what's going on. So here, Lex has gone to Gorilla City to try and recruit Gorilla Grodd to make sort of the team that he's assembling more powerful. But Grodd's got his own agenda, he's got his own issues, and that's why we end up in this fight with Solovar, where they're fighting for control of Gorilla City. So there's lots of different things going on in the story, and lots of personal one-on-one fights, but there's a bigger issue going on overall that needs a bigger team to take on.
It's the thing, it's all these villains working together, but you can never really trust them. And it's great that you get to be part of that team. So.
My guards will now take you into custody.
So we one of the things that we're really excited about as well is, of course, we have all the voices for the characters, and we have some incredibly good voice talent we're so excited by. So we have Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor is actually voiced by Clancy Brown, and as a result we've got lots of times when the characters are going to be talking in the levels as well as the cutscenes. And we actually have some other kind of good VO talent. We actually managed to get Mark Hamill to play the Joker. We have Kevin Conroy as Batman. We have Tara Strong as Harley Quinn. So we have an incredibly cool VO cast. And it's just one of these things. It's really great that we managed to get those guys on board. And the other thing is we get to say, hey, we get to write lines of dialogue, and the team write lines of dialogue, but then Mark Hamill will say, that's like really cool and exciting. I mean, we grew up like with these people, these actors, and the kind of the roles that they play. And to have them doing, like Mark Hamill doing his iconic Joker voice in LEGO DC Supervillains, which is really exciting.
Especially when that is paired with Batman being Kevin Conroy as well. Like those two work so well together. Like seeing that in the LEGO game is really, really cool. Where this is an original story, it's great that people of that caliber are bringing the story to life through the lines that they're saying.
Cool. So I think a couple more hits, and now what we have is once you defeat a boss, you actually get to take a little selfie with them and show you going, hey look, this is me being victorious.
Before Grodd. Gorilla City now belongs to me. Thank you for your help, Mr. Luther.
It seems like we didn't have much choice.
If you'd have known my plan, Solovar could have seeded in your thoughts and pulled it from your mind. Regardless, should you ever require aid.
Funny you should mention that.
So that's a brief glimpse at the Gorilla City level. We've recruited Grodd. He's now part of our villainous team to kind of help us do our mischievous deeds. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget, of course, to like and subscribe to LEGO Gaming.